Hey everyone, and welcome to Portal 64, your gateway to VYTALCast. I'm David. This is Sunny. Alright, so do you want to start with discussion? Yeah, okay. Actually, I guess there's a few things I could start off with that are... Oh no, my brain just farted. I can't remember. Oh, okay. I could start off with what... Oh, the Jaune thing. Jaune's semblance. That's where I wanted to start off. Because last week I was totally gloating like, aha, it is healing. And then this episode was like, no, it's not healing. It's an aura buff. Or like an aura buff through the transfer of Jaune's aura, which meant all the people that were like, no, it's an aura transfer, were correct all along. And I was wrong. So. Oh. Why? Okay. Hold on. Okay, try talking now, Sunny.
Hello.
Okay, they should hear you now.
Can y'all hear me?
I mean, at least OBS is recognizing your audio.
That's a good thing, I would guess. We're very professional.
Yeah, here, I just needed to fix the levels. Hey, Arnold!
Hello.
Salutations.
Okay, they can hear me, I think.
Okay. Are people able to hear Sunny now?
Yes.
Yes, okay, awesome. Okay. Okay, so we were just talking about Jaune's semblance and how I was wrong. It is a aura amplifier, which, speaking of Arnold, I was going to bring up his tweet about that as well. Did you see his tweet?
Which one? I see a lot of
Okay, he made a tweet with a picture showing, like, using the, like, logic of Jaune's semblance, here's how it works per a character of what potentially could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that? And it was, like, all jokes, like,
oh,
Ruby
yeah,
could go, like, light speed, and, like, Nora becomes Thor, and, like...
Yeah, I saw that.
I thought that was really awesome. I was like, you know, he's not wrong. Like, also, like, Blake being, like, 100 Shadow Clone Jitsu, which is hilarious because I just started reading Boruto this week, and yeah, it was like Naruto feels. Oh, sorry, Boruto's dad's feels. And,
yeah. Oh my god.
And also, a lot of people in my RWBY spoilers Discord, and also Arnold tweeted out that the finale is called Haven's Fate, and it's 24 and a half minutes long, which is shorter than the last two finales. But the other thing that I was going to bring up is I feel like last chapter, other than Yang confronting Raven, could have been like a finale.
Yeah, it definitely felt like it could be. Like, a lot of people were saying, like, oh, this is pretty much totally wrapped up. But, like, there's still, like, Faunus fighting outside, kind of. And, like, Adam's still there. He's not, like, out of commission. And then we have a few baddies left, so it's like not everything's wrapped up, but it's easy to see like things are getting wrapped up.
Yeah, I mean, well, definitely tomorrow everything's going to be finished. And from what I heard about RWBY Rewind, there's still going to be some fighting amongst the Faunus and White Fang. So I'm hoping we're going to see more of a fight between Adam and Blake, because... Oh, also, I thought it was hilarious how he was kind of, like, knocked down for a second, and...
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I kind of started seeing Adam as, like, a whiny 14-year-old who's, like, a fedora boy, pretty much. like, I feel like when he was yelling, like, I am making humanity pay for what they've done, I feel like they went to his voice actor, and they're like, alright, we don't just need him to, like, kind of resonate as a 14-year-old, we need him to be a 14-year-old. Like, his voice cracked when he was doing that.
I mean, like, he was throwing a tantrum, so.
Oh yeah, it was hilarious. I mean, I just thought it was awesome. I'm like, he's gonna go out like a wimp, isn't he? Because he was totally acting like a child, and then just how like Blake simply dodges his attack and just like hits him over the head. I'm like, yes, that is perfect. Although I do want a real fight as well, which he's not knocked out cold, so I expect we get that.
Oh, I like that comment. Adam at that point was a cornered animal.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, also, shout out to Inspector Who, because last time I streamed, I had like some spam trolls going on, and I made him a moderator, and he fixed all that. So shout out to him. And Arnold, because Arnold did that for a VYTALCast last year. So
nice. I remember there was a time, like real quick, I was in one of Arnold's streams, and I showed up and I was apparently the only moderator, and a bunch of people were spamming, and everyone's like, elephants are tasty, fix this. And I was like, I can do that.
What?
It was weird.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, Luca Blight said, the Blake bits in Chapter 13 were more funny than, oh, she sees Yang. Oh, yeah, you know, that was, like, a moment for me, like, she's like, Yang? And then Yang doesn't even say anything. Ruby's like, finally, I have a line. Yang, go after your mom. And it's like, guys, no, like, I want my Blake and Yang moment, but I guess Adam's not completely taken care of. Yeah, I know. It wasn't the time. And it was like, I mean, it's like, Raven already took care of Cinder. There's nothing too much to worry. I mean, I don't know whether the relic is in better hands with Raven or Cinder. Well, I guess if I had to choose, I'd pick Raven over Cinder, but
yeah,
you know, it's still trouble for the protagonists.
I liked Ruby's line because I was kind of feeling that, because Ruby was like, guys, like, do what you need to do, and I was kind of feeling that, like, characters, why are you standing around, like, you should be fighting people, like, what is going on? Yeah,
definitely. And it was like, I don't know, there was some stuff brought up in my Discord about how, like, Ruby, a lot of the time, in the last 2 volumes, has felt less as the main character, just because, like, she's been having less screen time and even less dialogue. So, and like, even, like, in Chapter 12, she was like, I'm mad. All we saw from this was a headbutt, and then that was, like, pretty much gone. Although
I'm missing a lot of the
I have a theory about that. I think the headbutt gave her, like, short-term memory, and she forgot what she was angry about, and therefore she is fine. So, yeah. Oh, Verif is mentioning the vault interior, and I honestly think it was constructed by Time Lords, and that Doctor Who is canon inside the world of Remnant, because why not? The Doctor could travel to anywhere and also alternate realities, so therefore the Doctor is canon RWBY. That is my answer on how that was done.
I don't personally agree with that theory.
No. That was more joke than anything. I was just... It was mind-blowing. I mean, obviously, like, Ozpin or the 2 brothers had to do with building it. And actually...
Sorry, I was just, like, I really liked that design, like, the lead up to it, like, where the fight took place, and then, like, she opens it, and the door is really cool, and then the other side is, like, a desert. Like, what is going on here? It's cool, and I want to know about it.
It also reminded me of Doctor Strange. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it reminds me of the part where he literally abandons one of the villain's minions in the desert. It, like, almost looks like the exact spot, even. But, I don't know, that's just, like, a random thought I had. And also, that fight between Raven and Cinder was really cool. And I totally, I liked how, like, when she got hit in the Grim arm, they're like, they kind of reminded us, like, oh yeah, Grim don't have aura because they don't have souls. And, like, that was brought up in Volume 2. Like, I just really liked how, I don't know, I had a weird nostalgia moment with, like, oh yeah, Oobleck said that they have no souls and stuff in Volume 2. And I think it was said earlier in Volume 1, but it was like, that's
Kira
the moment.
Said it
yeah.
in Volume 1.
Yeah, Pyrrha said it, but for whatever reason, I remember Oobleck singing a lot more than Pyrrha saying anything about it.
I remember Pyrrha saying. I don't remember Oobleck saying.
Yeah, you know what's weird is whenever I remember Volume 1, I remember up until the Emerald Forest fight, and then just the ending fight with Rome and Torchwick. Like, I forget Jaune's arc altogether with, like, Pyrrha and all that. Like, Pyrrha, like, lifting up his shield and all that. That is, like, some of the last stuff I ever remember when people say, RWBY Volume 1. I'm like, wait. Oh, yeah, she lifted his shield. That's when we first saw her semblance, but I forget that.
Okay, Nico
Doesn't
asked,
he?
is Cinder really dead?
Wait,
you're
hold on.
reading Arnold's comment.
Yeah, Arnold said Oobleck never mentioned Grimm with Aura and Souls. I believe he said something about that when they're looking at the Goliaths. He said, like, he's like, oh, there's no need to, like, go after those Goliaths. They don't have souls, but they have grown to be wise or something like that. Like, they know to avoid conflict, and they're, like, so powerful and all of that. Like, I
don't remember him talking about souls. I just remember him saying, like, they aren't mindless anymore, so they've learned. I don't remember anything about souls, but, like...
I don't know. I don't know why. I just think of, like... yeah, I might be just... I just might be mixing scenes up together. I don't know. Maybe that's, like, my thought process of when he said that when I was watching the episode. So... Yeah, you said not all Grimm are mindless. Dude, I'm an old person, just kidding. But, like, I don't know why. I guess when he says, oh, they're not mindless, I guess in my head I was like, oh, I guess just because they don't have souls, they can't be mindless. I don't know. Like, sometimes I just remember my thought process more than the episode itself. And it does become a problem when I do my reaction videos. For example, when Raven said Crow was planning to ambush her, and I was like, no, because my thought process was he was having Huntsman, more of a worst case scenario with Raven, and he was hoping to negotiate things first and not necessarily go jumping in guns out. So that was my thought process, but not everyone hears what I think. And sometimes what I think then becomes how I remember the episode. So it has become quite a problem with Volume 5 reactions, at least for me. So,
well, I've made a total of 2 Volume 5 reactions.
Oh yeah, you talked about how you recorded a reaction for Chapter 13.
I actually reacted to this past episode, and I'm really glad I did. I love this episode so much, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Kai. Okay, Kai in your sass. Okay. So AC Gears and Arm is asking, do you think a giant Grimm lies under the mountain of Mistral? And you know what? At this point, I might as well just say yes, because of, like, Volume 3 with the Dragon Grimm, and then also the Nuclevi kind of lived in a cave in the mountain. It's like, anywhere that doesn't have, like, heavy human population, I will believe there's, like, a Grimm of some sort there.
Yeah.
Whether it'll be as big as the Dragon Grimm, I don't know. But the Dragon Grimm's, like, a good mention, because that came out during the fall of Beacon. And it wouldn't be too surprising if they had, like, one last trump card of things.
Yeah.
But considering it's 24 minutes, I don't think they're going to pull something out like that.
Nah, I don't know. Okay, but you bring up the Grim Dragon. Like, there was a point in the last episode where when the thing started shaking, like, and then the rock started falling from the ceiling.
Yeah.
For a second, I didn't realize what caused that. So I was like, oh my god, is there another, like, dragon or something that's, like, barreling in, and then it's going to be a repeat of Beacon? But I was like, no, that didn't happen, so I was happy.
Yeah, no, actually, that was, like, a thing I really wanted to point out about the fight between Cinder and Raven, was it really felt like an old-school RWBY fight, and it really reminded me of a fight in Red vs. Blue in particular. In Season 10, there's a fight with zero gravity, or I guess there's 2 fights with zero gravity, but this fight had to do with like more like floating objects that they were jumping off of and spinning around to fight with, and it was like, yeah, they were totally like using the rocks in similar fashion to that, and I was just like, ugh. That fight scene was so freaking amazing. And for like, my reaction's not unblocked yet. I might just have to file a dispute so it is viewable for tomorrow. But like, a lot of the time I was pretty silent during the fight, other than like, ooh, oh my gosh. But I was like just so like taking everything in, like, am I seeing this? Is this really what's happening? Like,
yeah, and a lot of it was going so fast. Like, I love that fight. But, like, some of it was going so fast, like, the animation, everything was just, like, flying around, and I couldn't tell, like, what happened. Like, I barely registered that Raven and Cinder switched swords for a while.
yeah.
Like, when did this happen? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I think I actually said, oh, they switched swords. But it wasn't like, oh my gosh, they switched swords. It was like, oh, they switched swords. But seriously, guys, don't take it as me being underwhelmed when I'm watching it. It's more of like, I'm just overwhelmed with that, like, I do not know what words to come out of my mouth, because like the moment I'm trying to say something, I'm thinking something else, so I just didn't say much at all. It was just like, felt so good, and thank you so much, RWBY, for providing us with such an amazing fight, and I hope there's a fight scene in tomorrow's episode that is also very good. But I don't know if the episode's going to be split 50-50 with, like, quickly wrapping stuff up and then coming to a close, or however, like, because I think there was still, like, 14 minutes left as Volume 3's finale after Pyrrha died. There was still, like, 14 minutes, including, like, the end credits, but it was like, wait, what? That's, like, how much longer the episode? You know? And that was mainly to, like, close and, like, kind of give hints of, like, where Volume 4 is going.
Ooh, I'm just, like, I'm still so bad at predicting. Like, I have no idea what's gonna happen. Like, okay, I got sidetracked, like, in that thought just now, because what I actually want to happen, this is kind of stupid, but I want the rest of Team Sun to show up. Where are they? I need a Scarlet character model in Maya, please.
I miss Neptune a lot.
Okay, yeah, Neptune. I miss him. Oh,
I really want to see him. And okay, Luca Blight just asked if Neo will return. I'm like, honestly, at this point, I don't think she is gonna return. I thought she was gonna return all throughout Volume 4, kind of doing what Tyrion did, which was like hunting down Team Ranger. And I really thought she would have like went after Ruby Rose, because she would have assumed Ruby killed Torchwick, but then Ruby, like, I had this whole theory of, like, Ruby would tell Neo, like, no, it wasn't me, he was killed by a Grimm, and then Neo would be like, oh, well, if anything, then I should point my anger towards Cinder and Salem, because if it wasn't for them, there would be no Grimm at Beacon, and Torchwick wouldn't have died. So, yeah. I had this interesting theory, but not a lot that happened. So, anyway, that was my theory, but now that she hasn't shown up, I don't think she would.
I really, okay, she's pretty cool, and, like, I wish I could see more of her fighting, but people care too much about Neo. Like, Neo was literally conceived as a character, like, shortly before she showed up. She was not, like, planned for a long time. Lonnie honestly just, like, created her and put her in, and then she fought a little bit, was cool and suspicious, and then she disappeared, and people care so much about Neo, and I just don't care that much.
Yeah, and as Arnold said, like, Neo is irrelevant at this point, which is kind of why I said, yeah, I don't see her coming back. And, like, my theory did kind of have some sort of reason for her to come back, but even then, that's kind of stretching it. And Torchwick himself even lasted longer in the series than originally planned. Yeah. He really just lasted till Volume 3, mainly because fans loved him so much that Monty changed his mind on, like, when he was gonna die. So, I mean, that's our fan service right there, is having one extra volume of Torchwick. So.
Yeah, and the only reason I could see for Neo coming back is if she's just, like, doing her own, like, crime thing, and But like,
or
I
there's
don't
like a
see...
circus in town, and she's part of the circus.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't see a good reason for her to come back.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And I don't know why I'm starting to like think back to like Adam and all of that. Like I really wonder because like at the end of Volume 2, I'm guessing that was when Torchwick was originally supposed to die, but instead he got arrested. And so it makes me wonder, like, with tomorrow's episode, I'm predicting Adam is going to be arrested, but I'm also like, okay, at this point, it kind of looks like they could be done with Adam, which I also want to say is not the case, but, like...
I don't think they should be done with Adam until we see his face.
Yeah, no, I mean, tomorrow could very well be the day we see his face. Because if he gets arrested, they will definitely be taking that mask off. And
probably.
Also, I wish his mask was off when he was looking at Blake all dumbstruck before she hit him in the head. Because I'm like, ugh, I feel like we're robbed of seeing, like, the fear in his eyes, or, like, the shock in his eyes, you know? We just, like, I mean, we could pretty much imagine what his face looked like, because we see, like, his mouth and all that, but, like, Adam has silver eyes. That theory's still going around. I mean, it's a joke theory, but...
Okay, but, like, I read a post from someone who actually, like, believes that theory, and they put a lot of work into it, and I was like, that would be cool, though.
Like, do you want to elaborate with this? Like, do you remember much of it?
It had a lot to do with the character in poetry Summer Rose was based off of, and it had a lot to do with her connections to the moon, and then they started talking about the juxtaposition of roses and the moon, Ruby Rose and the moon, kind of throughout the show. Like,
so but where does Adam come in that? Okay.
So they talk a lot about how, like, there's been a whole lot of imagery of roses and rose petals against the moon, and then you see a lot of, I don't remember if it's on his new outfit, but Adam had, like, a big red rose against a white design on his back.
That was definitely his original outfit. So
yes. And especially during the Black trailer, when he uses his power, there's rose petals there, and just, it's a lot of kind of like circumstantial, like, odd connections.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at explaining it, but I mean, there's definitely, like, some decent evidence in there. I just can't explain it all.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think he'll have silver eyes. I kind of imagine his eye color would be similar to his hair, or close to. And also, like, I just don't know, like, what use he would have to Salem if he loses this fight tomorrow, which it looks like he's going to, because he's surrounded, and his group is a lot smaller than what they're up against.
Yeah, I don't want to see, like, I want more action from Adam. He hasn't done anything in forever.
Yeah, no, I am totally with you on that. Like, he's a very good villain for people to just hate. Like, they love to hate him, or most people do, at least. Like, for me, I love to hate Adam because of, like, how twisted he seems, and, like, you know, hearing from Blake's side of, like, how he changed, and, like, kind of like the hints of her relationship with him was very abusive by the time it ended and all that. So it's just kind of like, yeah, for Blake's sake, I have a lot of anger towards Adam and stuff like that. I don't know. I would like to see him more, but I'm also kind of trying to figure out, like, are they going to do, like, a repeat of the Torchwick situation where he gets arrested and then he's busted out, or does he narrowly escape? And then if he does narrowly escape, what does he do? Because it kind of looks like he's going to lose the White Fang tomorrow. And it's like, if he loses the White Fang, what is he? Because of him having such a following in the White Fang, that was kind of his use to Salem. And so it's like, his use to Salem would pretty much end. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, where can this go for Adam to continue? And so, unless, like, I imagine tomorrow we're going to have a big fight between Blake and Adam, maybe even Ilya joining in, or even
Mm-hmm.
Sun. And like, I guess that's like another reason why I'm disappointed Yang ran off, is because I always wanted like a Yang versus Adam rematch, like a revenge for
Yeah,
losing
I
her
want
arm.
that too.
But that is definitely not going to happen unless he's able to escape and still find a way to be important to the plot that still brings them back into another conflict between Blake and Yang. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Ooh, quick question.
yes.
Can I put links in the YouTube chat because I found the link to the theory I read.
Oh, yeah. Here, let me just I need to find a comment from you and make you a moderator, because I think I blocked
I just put
links.
a comment.
Okay. Yeah, hold on. Add moderator. You are now officially a moderator, which I should have done forever ago, but okay, you should be able to post a link.
Okay. I posted it.
Okay, open link in new window. Okay, so is this... Oh, this is the theory you were talking about?
Yes, this is the thing I read.
Okay. This looks like one of those familiar Tumblr posts I saw, but I decided was too long to read, and therefore I skipped it. But I will definitely save that for later to read. So...
Yeah, so just like if anyone in the
hey,
chat wants
Thunderstorm.
to save it for later, it's an interesting read.
Yeah. Oh, and Arnold, I think there's going to be a more detailed fight tomorrow between Adam and Blake, like, because he wasn't knocked out. You know, at first it looks like it, but then he gets back up and he's like, "What are you going to do?" He's like, "What are you doing? Kill them." So I think he's still up and ready to fight. And Blake did run towards the White Fang after Yang ran off, so I think there's still a chance for Blake to fight Adam, but I'm siding on Blake's gonna win. And honestly, like, most of Adam, like his... talking about Adam versus Yang. Yeah, they didn't really have a fight, but I just want to see them fight. You know, I consider that more of like a very quick fight, where it was like a one-punch knockout, except for there was one slice arm out, you know? So, like, that's how I saw it. Yang attacked, he attacked / defended, she was out cold, fight over. Like, as soon as it started, fight was over. I've seen a few fights in my martial arts classes, and it's like, trust me, like, no matter how quick it is, it's still considered a fight, at least to me. I just want Yang to get some payback for her arm, and maybe, just maybe, that'll help her with her PTSD. But I also want Blake to fight and defeat Adam for her own character arc, and like closure on that, and moving on to like a better life, and maybe even becoming like the new face of the White Fang. But I don't know, I'm so conflicted with like who I want to beat up Adam, and like how that to end and when that to end, and it looks like to me, at least, it looks like that's tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know, for me, like, from a purely like fan point of view, it's like, oh, in a perfect world, I would have Blake and Yang versus Adam, and they'd be doing some cool like team moves. But like, Yang's in the vault, and I have no idea what's gonna go on in the vault. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, so like Cinder is gone for now. I don't think she's quite dead yet. But like, it's just Yang.
I don't think she's
Raven,
dead, but I could also see that as like a her being dead moment. But I'm leaning towards not dead.
Yeah, I mean, like, Raven broke out of the ice pretty easily. Why couldn't Cinder do that too?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, Cinder, I mean, I'm going to have to, like, look back and analyze. But it looked like Raven was more, like, covered in ice to be frozen. Whereas Cinder looked like she was the ice. Like, that was kind of a difference. And,
yeah, because...
And then, like, the flame coming off her eye... went away like long before her entire body was covered in ice, which kind of makes me feel like that was like the you know, the flame of her life being snuffed away, but I don't really at the same time I don't really see that. And it's also like, okay, who would become the next Fall Maiden? Emerald? You know, like I mean, that's the only thing I could see, but it's I don't know. There's a lot of stuff to question. You know, that'll be a good after credits scene. Cinder surviving.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty good.
Like, you know, like what else did she lose? Maybe her leg shattered. Who knows? And she's gonna have to like replace that with a grim thing too. And like, ugh, is Cinder gonna become like Darth Vader, where she like,
I don't know.
Like, you know, Darth Vader, you know, he started out as man, but slowly became more machine. But Cinder's like started out human, slowly becomes more grim.
Yeah, I don't know. That reminds me though, like Raven called Cinder like a monster. Obviously, like Cinder has a grim limb now for power. She's a monster for power. But then Cinder was like, "Look who's talking," and I don't know how I would consider Raven a monster in that context. Like, does Cinder know something we don't, or is there something I'm forgetting? Because like Raven's pretty normal compared to Cinder, I feel like.
Yeah, and also I literally said that in my reaction video. I said,
I thought that.
Where I'm like, is she gonna shatter? Is she? And we didn't, which leaves it open-ended to her surviving for me. But yeah, we could totally, like, Inspector Who pretty much posted what I was gonna say, like a hand reaching out, showing that she survived. And we already know her arm could stretch out a long way. Yeah. So it could be, you know, Grim Arm pulls her back up, but where was I going? What do you think's gonna happen with Raven and Yang?
Okay.
Because I don't think they're gonna fight. If anything, they're gonna fight verbally.
Yeah, like, well, they don't have anything to physically fight about, I feel like. I mean, Yang might be relic. Like, ooh, what's this cool... Okay, does Yang care? I don't think she cares that much.
I think Yang might be conflicted, whether or not, because it seemed like she believed quite a bit of what Raven said earlier to her and Weiss, but then obviously Ozpin and Crow showed her like, no, like, yeah, she's correct, but we did this on our own accord, and, you know, there's more to the picture than just that. So who knows? Maybe Yang will try to convince Raven to like join the cause and like kind of be like, look, we have all this manpower. What's going on upstairs is we're winning. It's going in our favor against Salem. And you just defeated Cinder in a fight. She may or may not be dead. But, like, today is proof that, you know, Haven not falling, the fate of Haven, is kind of proof that we can fight back and win against Salem. You know, try to convince Raven the other way around. But... yeah. But however, something that Crow said in Volume 3 saying, or Volume 4, or I guess said in both, that Raven was only going to save Yang once, but then also Raven kind of saying, like, her little confrontation with Crow a chapter or two ago, where she was like, I thought you thought of me as family, and then he said, I guess that's over now. And, like... Raven considering like the tribe family more than like her own twin, so it's like, would she attack her own daughter? You know, could she be heartless enough? Could Yang lose her other arm? Like,
okay, I don't think that would happen.
Yeah. No, I don't think she'd lose another arm, but it's just like I could see something very bad happening in that, like, as a possibility, but...
Yeah, okay, someone put a comment, and it's obvious I should have remembered, but, like, if Yang's, like, siding with Ozpin and Crow, like, she's just, like, chill with whatever, she'll probably be like, hey, Mom, can you leave that relic there? Like, it's safer there, please don't take it. That's, like, the only thing they
convince her to,
about.
Like, let it stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also saw some, like, last-minute, like, Yang is the Spring Maiden theories. And can I just say that throws what I thought of who would be witch maiden out. You know, like I always thought like I always thought Weiss would be winter maiden, Ruby as spring, and then Yang as summer, and then Blake as fall. But now it's like, well, you know, now that we know Raven is the spring maiden, that throws that all out of a loop, possibly.
I don't know. See, that's like the easy conclusion, like who would be the maidens. But
Yeah.
I would go more off personality in that case. Like it'd be too obvious to make Weiss the winter maiden. I feel like it would be better if it went by personality. But I also feel like
Well,
if
personality almost fits as well. To me, at least.
Not that much anymore. Like she's much nice now.
Oh, which, by the way, speaking of Weiss and personality, this RWBY manga does a great way of explaining her a lot better than the first 2 volumes did. Pick it up. I accidentally got it 2 days early at Barnes & Noble. Apparently my
accidentally?
Yeah, like apparently they accidentally put it on the shelf a few days early. Because I was looking on Amazon like just the night before and it was still on pre-order and I was like, oh, guess I could just pre-order it. And then I went to Barnes & Noble, saw someone holding one, and I was like, where is that? And they pointed right in front of them to the shelf, and I grabbed it. I witnessed 3 copies of this being purchased at Barnes & Noble. Like, they sold out on this. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was awesome. Wait, why is Weiss wearing jeans? Dude, I don't know. And for all I know, it might be, like, tights. But, like, just blue tights. But Arnold said, like, hold on, I have to scroll up to his other comment. It said, Raven has no aura, the relic is exposed, and Raven is also distracted. But I also see Raven as a very good fighter as well, and clever. And that she made the point of, like, Cinder gets too distracted and is not always clever in thinking. And that was, like, the downfall of Cinder. I highly doubt she'll, like, 2 seconds later let that exact concept be her downfall.
Yeah, and if someone's a good enough fighter against someone who obviously has way less experience, then even if they don't have aura, they could probably, like, stay on the defensive well enough and, like, get some attacks in. I feel like Raven would be fine versus Yang at this point.
Yeah. Wait. Sorry. Repeat what you were saying. I was reading comments.
Okay, I was just saying that since Raven has a lot more experience than Yang, then even if Raven doesn't have aura left, she could still, like, take care of herself in a fight against
Take on Yang. Yeah, and also,
and
like...
Yang literally has only one arm right now.
Yeah, and she did some fighting, which means, like, her aura could be pretty weak as well. You know? Like, if Raven has no aura, Yang could very well, like, lose her aura in a couple of hits from Raven's sword.
Yeah.
So, oh, and then also, like, Arnold said, like, if they all became maidens, that would be the most OP thing ever, which I agree. I see the point to that, especially with, like, RWBY already having silver eyes, kind of being, like, an OP and ex machina already. So, I don't know. I just thought of it as, like, an interesting thing of, like, I don't know, like, whenever I try to think of, like, RWBY's ending, like, what would the end of RWBY look like, I always kind of see Team RWBY as maidens. And I don't know, it's like there's 4 members per team, there's just also conveniently 4 maidens, like, numbers add up, but
I feel like that's
I agree with that.
Pop out. But also, wouldn't it be contradictory because maidens are weak against silver eyes? So how could RWBY be both silver eyes and a maiden? Wouldn't that, like, cause some problems?
Okay, so as we discussed earlier, sometimes my thought process gets in the way of how I remember episodes. Was maidens being weak to silver eyes explicitly said? Or were people thinking that...
Salem insinuated it.
Okay. Well...
It hurt Cinder at the Fall of Beacon, and it hurt Cinder again.
Okay, yeah.
Although that was kind of her grim arm.
Yeah, like, because... Yeah, just a couple episodes ago, I assumed that was the grim arm more than anything. Whereas, at at Beacon when that happened, I just assumed because it was like a full-on blast, and Cinder was pretty much at point blank, got hit, you know, even though a
Yeah.
lot of that was aimed at the Dragon Grim above her.
I'm basically just going off of the end of Volume 3 and how Salem talked about how, like, Cinder, you need to protect your new power again. That's what I'm going off of. But it's so confusing. It's like Kirby is just like messing with us. We don't know any rules, and then they mess with us with Jaune's semblance, like, because in the last episode it was all white, so we're like, oh, Jaune's healing, but then it turned blue in this episode, and it's like, oh, he's amplifying Weiss's aura. So I feel like they just mess with us.
Yeah. Okay, so people are saying it was confirmed. However, Cybernetic Phoenix, I don't think it was the end of Volume 3 where that was... Because he said it was said, I don't think it was said. If anything, it was shown if Cinder was the example of that. Because when Crow explains it, he explained it as they were like great warriors against Grimm and stuff like that. And they were very feared. So, but yeah, it was in Volume 4. I think it was like... It was within the first 5 chapters of Volume 4, I'm sure. It might have been chapters 1 or 2 even.
I literally just remember...
And Hunt SD... Okay, so now Hunt SD is saying it was because of the Grimm. Someone pull a quote or something. With citations. Yeah.
I literally just remember Salem telling Cinder, like, your new power comes at a great cost and you have to protect it, and I feel like they were talking about RWBY in that context. It hasn't been confirmed, but it's been implied. They
were definitely talking about RWBY, but the question now comes into mind of Maiden or Grimm. Like, which were they talking about? Because with the Grimm arm, she was trying to steal Raven's Maiden powers. And so it's like, okay, that could be a great new power, a great new gift as well. Also stretching arm powers and the ability to just creep people out by taking a glove off. So the Maidens and Grimm are magic by nature, then Silver Eyes could be like anti-magic powers. That logic makes sense.
Yeah.
However, I still want to see some sort of citation. I'll probably just have to like Google it. Although, actually, wait. The RWBY wiki might actually be a good place. Let me look up Silver Eyes RWBY wiki. Here we go. Silver-Eyed Warrior. Back before Huntsman, before Kingdoms, it was said that those born with silver eyes were destined to lead life of a warrior. You see, the creatures of Grimm, the most fearsome monsters mankind has ever encountered, were afraid of those silver-eyed warriors. They were the best of the best. It was said even a single look from one of these fighters could strike a Grimm down, which was Crow in Volume 3. So far, that was only mentioned Grimm. Okay. Okay, so in some cases, these powers can be used against human opponents as well. Judging by the debility injuries RWBY inflicts upon Cinder Fall, it is stated by Salem that Cinder was especially susceptible because of her powers' attainment of the Fall Maiden powers, but doesn't elaborate any further on this. The second use of her powers, though not at full effect, are enough to hurt Cinder. So exactly how the powers manifest is not known beyond the fact that blinding streams of light, almost resembling wings, came from the wielder's eyes. Although then RWBY used her powers while her friends were in deadly situations so far. Upon being used, the user is not invulnerable to being hurt or interrupted, as Emerald was easily able to knock her out. Okay, so yeah,
it's just really confusing.
Yeah, so it pretty much said what I was saying, was like, who knows how much of an effect it has on maidens particularly. Like, to me, Silver Eyes were just like a weapon that could be used, but it is super effective against Grimm, or because, you know, Grimm are the greatest threat to mankind. That was what he was used against the most, and therefore remembered as in Legends. So,
okay, I'm wondering, people keep talking about, like, Cinder Ruby affected Cinder because Cinder had a Grim glove at the fall of Beacon. I have no idea what they're talking about. Like, she didn't have her glove during that, did she? And
during the fall of Beacon?
Yeah.
No, she didn't have the glove, but people are saying like it could be because she used the glove to get the powers that there could have been some sort of mark in it to her from it. Like
that would make sense.
Because she did get the tattoo on her back from using the glove, and so far, it could either be a mark of a maiden or like from the method of use obtaining those powers. Because we haven't seen the small of Raven's back to be able to tell if there's anything there. And also, someone in the comments said Raven was affected, and I kind of want to call BS on that because I don't think Raven was even on screen, and if she was, I did not notice anything of her, like, changing position any mildly. She seemed pretty calm up until that point.
Oh, yeah. Wait, you're talking about when Ruby almost used them again?
Yeah, when she was activating them, but then got knocked out. Yeah.
Yeah,
so Raven wasn't affected. I might go back
and check that. But, like, all I was thinking about at the time was, like, Vernal wasn't affected, but, like, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I have to go back and watch.
Yeah, no, I remember, like, rewatching that episode and that part a few times and being like, I don't really see anyone other than Cinder being affected, although it was more focused on Cinder than anything. Because Ruby was kind of aiming at Cinder, but then also, like, you know, it was focusing on Cinder because Cinder was like, ow, ooh, my arm, that I am not going to reveal until the next episode or the end of this episode. Also, someone brought up, like, one of my big criticisms of Volume 5 was, like, no explanation on, like, furthermore about what Silver Eyes are, even though they've had a lot of sit-down time. RWBY, Ozpin, and Crow, which Ozpin and Crow are the ones who would have the answers, and it's less like, hey, you know, like, we could have had, like, a moment where they explain that, rather than focusing more on, like, when Weiss and Yang return, catching them up. Although I guess the part where Crow reveals that they did that on their own was important.
Yeah, it's just, like, all those episodes of them sitting around, and it's like they didn't really talk about anything, like, new or exciting or relevant, and that's definitely something they should have talked about. Like, surely Ruby's asked about her power. Like, if I had a power like that, I would just be trying to ask everyone, like, what can I do? What does this mean? Like, but RWBY doesn't seem interested in at all.
I don't know. It's kind of weird because RWBY kind of pushes things out a lot as well. Because, you know, her talk with Jaune in Volume 4 was kind of like, hey, you know, like, you lost friends, you lost Penny and Pyrrha, and RWBY totally tries to, like, push that aside and be like, no, like, I'm more focused on your loss of Pyrrha and stuff. And, like, Jaune pretty much threw it in her face, like, hey, like, you're dealing with the same stuff as us, like, you need to take care of yourself. So, oh, also, this reminded me of a video I made earlier this week about RWBY Volume 6 being announced for this fall. And them announcing all these other new shows, which, granted, Nomad of Nowhere is a 2D show, so it shouldn't be taken too much away from, like, RWBY. But I just feel like I wouldn't mind waiting till, like, February 2019 for Volume 6. Or December 2018. Like, I would not mind having a longer wait for the next volume, especially since we're going to be having Genlock, which I imagine will be a big show in the Rooster Teeth fandom. And there's also, like, a bit of worry because, like, last time Rooster Teeth had a big animated IP come in, it was RWBY, and it basically took over Rooster Teeth, and, like, Red versus Blue in quality very noticeably went down. I mean, mainly because they didn't have Monty working on it again, but, like, he took quite a few people that were helping him with Red versus Blue into RWBY, and, like, took resources and focus away from Red versus Blue. So part of me is like, from that, I'm kind of worried about how that would affect RWBY, but then also, like, it's still, like, there's still going to be like crossover between people working on RWBY and Genlock. Like,
Yeah.
I think like Kim is working on that. Yeah, RWBY is Rooster Teeth's flagship series now, but like, just who knows how big Genlock will be? Like, who knows? It might rival RWBY. If not in first season, maybe the next season, you know?
Yeah. Like, if they were actively working on, like, the quality and details of RWBY, I would be fine with waiting longer for it. Because, like, this... Okay, I love last episode, but it's been bothering me so bad that one scene you see, like, RWBY do a little move, and the next scene she has Crescent Rolls, like, on her little holder in the back, not doing anything. She's just standing there. Yeah. Emerald and Mercury are doing nothing. And then next scene, like, RWBY, like, throws around her scythe a little bit, and then, like, nothing's happening, and they need to be consistent with, like, what characters are doing.
Which was, like, another concern I had with RWBY was, like, right now, RWBY as a plot, and especially with, like, last episode as an example, has a lot on its plate, and it's like, hey, if anything, you know, we need to take it. We should take more time getting everything polished out, you know? And although I would just say, like, scenes like the fight upstairs where there's, like, the fight between Hazel, Lionheart, Ozpin, and Crow. And then, like, there's also the fight between Emerald, Mercury, Yang, and, like, Yang and RWBY, and then there's, like, also Jaune and Weiss going on, and Nora and Ren, and then there's, like, outside, there's the White Fang and Blake. You know, that's, like, a lot to handle, and, like, you know, there's, like, bound to, like, be some crossover stuff going on. But I just feel like, hey, you know, it would be nice to see, like, things taking more, have time taken care of. And, like, they did do that with Volume 5 compared to Volume 4. They started production on Volume 5 a lot earlier than they did with Volume 4, which made a huge difference so far. And they also tripled the budget from what I remember hearing, which those two were a big help. But I'm just worried about, like, divide and focus, and then also, like, people just being overworked at RWBY as well.
Yeah.
Because I remember during Volume 4, not so much during Volume 5, but I remember very particularly during Volume 4, like, hearing about episodes being finished and uploaded, like, hours before the premiere, or, like, animators pulling all-nighters to make sure everything's done and perfect and stuff like that. I'm like, gosh, we're gonna have, like, 2 heavy-duty 3D shows being done and coming out within close range of each other. And I'm just like, are they going to be able to handle that without the quality of one or both shows not being as good as it could have been? And someone said, like, Red vs. Blue season 13 was, like, one of the best seasons. I agree with that. But seasons 11 and then 12 were not as good as, like, 8, 9, and 10. And, like, 12 was, like, building it back up in quality, and, like, as they try to balance stuff out and figure stuff out. But they hired so many new animators, especially from Volume 5. I'm sure their animators will be fine. Yeah, I'm sure too, like, I titled the video, like, a hopefully misplaced fear, because, like, I'm hoping that I'm worrying for no reason at all, but at the same time, I'm just like, yeah, you have a bigger team, but, like, anxiety. And also, like, with Miles's tweet, when he announced all that stuff, he said, and more, which I'm like, there's more? There's already, like, a lot. Like, even from, like, a fan point of view, it's like, you're overwhelming me with content, dear sir. I haven't seen them, but I feel like 8, 9, and 10 of RWBY are revered by so many fans because of Monty. Yeah, they are. Like, if it wasn't for seasons 8, 9, and 10, and knowing Monty was such a huge part of those, I would have never even, like, well, I would have watched RWBY, but I wouldn't have been, like, so, like, I need to make sure I watch this the day it comes out. Because I was one of those people that, like, they saw the red trailer. I didn't see the red trailer the day it came out, but I did see the red trailer and see Monty Oom's name as, like, created by Monty Oom, and being like, oh dang boy, he did all the awesome fight scenes in seasons 8, 9, and 10 of Red vs. Blue. I gotta watch this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like just like I guess from like a writing perspective, even like they need to take more time.
Yeah.
Because like Miles and Carrie, they kind of work as a team. Like, sure, Carrie's doing most of the work with RWBY, and then like Miles was sort of more focused on Red versus Blue for a while. Now that like the chorus trilogy is done, I'm not sure how involved he is with the writing for that. But and then like also Gray's overlooking that, but also Gray's like the head of animation, where he's like overlooking anything that's animation. I'm just like worried about like from a writing perspective, like how things are going. Like I'm sure, I mean, Genlogs is Gray's baby, so I imagine he's doing most, if not all, the heavy duty writing for that. But I'm just like just writing alone, I say like take a year. Like even if it's not gonna like overwork animators or anything, like take your time, make sure RWBY's more polished. And although like RWBY's improved continuously with each volume in like quality of show, as far as like animation has gone, and like writing, definitely with like dialogue, especially like conversations in the show. I don't know. I just love RWBY. I want to protect it, and that's like the main concern of like why I'm like, hey, slow down, maybe. But I've also had members of Crewbie's voice concerns to me as well. Like I can't say who because I don't want to get them in trouble. But like, I had one of them even kind of slightly concerned that they too have the same feelings as me when I came up with that video. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'm onto something. I don't know. I'm just, and like I don't want people to think I'm like hating on RWBY or anything like that. It's like, no, I just want to protect what I love and make sure what I love gets the best treatment it deserves. You know. And like I know Rooster Teeth, they're big boys. They know what they're doing. I trust they know more than me. But from an audience perspective, I still fear because there's a lot unknown to me. So.
Yeah, I totally understand your fear, and like I feel a little bit of it. Like Rooster Teeth's constantly trying to expand, but it's like if they expand to new things, they might lose some focus on like the other things that they've already established. And I just really hope like RWBY doesn't lose anything because of this.
What? Sorry, Luca. Yeah, said word is Carrie might in fact. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna take that with a huge grain of salt. Except for like I could understand Carrie being under a lot of stress, but honestly, he's like one of the only writers I would trust with Rooster Teeth to be like the main writer for RWBY. But also, I remember a rumor earlier this year cost a very dear person to me a job at Rooster Teeth, and I do not want to go spreading that around or having that spread around because I do not want, one, myself in trouble, two, other people in trouble as well. Like, yeah, exactly as Verif said and as Arnold, because like, oh no, because of the consequences of the last rumor that came around. No, I am not gonna believe that at all. Yeah. So like, no offense to you. It's just no. Until like RTX or like Rooster Teeth themselves come out with an announcement, I'm not gonna believe that at all. Although I could understand being under a lot of stress, but yeah, no, I like even though you're saying Fat Man Falling said it, I'm not gonna like follow with that, especially since I don't know who he is. Like I've heard of him, but I'm not gonna. Yeah, like even especially when it's like his episode, I would not consider a citation unless like Carrie posted in a Rooster Teeth blog or something. I'm not even gonna touch that, and especially when Volume 5 finishes tomorrow, and I highly doubt they would not say anything very well until Volume 5 is over. And I imagine that would create like a lot of distress within the fandom for Volume 6. And are we out of time? Wait.
It's been an hour.
Okay, yeah, it's almost an hour. Anyway, Yeah, exactly as Arnold said. We'd prefer to spread facts, not rumors.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to believe that. I'm not going to spread that. Kind of regret reading it. But reading it out loud, I guess. But that just took me by such a surprise. I had to point it out. So anyway, do you gotta go, or are you okay with spreading it out just a little bit?
I have some things to do, yes.
Okay, all right. Well, we're gonna end it here tonight, guys.
I'm sorry, it's all my fault.
Thank you so much for watching. Special shout out to Murderer Birds and Inspector Who Reacts and Stoic Drug. He missed this week, but thank you again to him for donating through the super chat.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Cool.
I'm also gonna point out that like I'm gonna try live streaming more often in hopes of raising more money for RTX. Because of like how some things happened at RTX last year, I had no spending money, but you know, I still had a fun time. It is. But so far it looks like I should be able to like get things done on my own, but donations always help. So anyway, thank you guys so much. I will boop you later.
Thanks
Bye.
for watching.